32 years on SAPD. Since 1989, I worked on the gang unit.
John Schiller, when he was an active detective, played an instrumental role in ridding San Antonio of one of the most notorious gangs in San Antonio, the Texas Syndicate.
I've never been more humiliated in my life than the day that video came out.
Put your hands up.
No. Get off me, dude. What are you doing, man? What are you gonna do, shoot me?
This was the video most of us saw.
All they got was, I pulled a gun on somebody and I put my hands on them.
Retired SAPD officer John Schiller can now speak
on the phone
about what happened minutes before the video was recorded, since the charges against him have now been dropped.
I didn't realize that they were tracking their phone and following me the whole time.
The Bexar County District Attorney's Office says that they were not able to secure the alleged victim, Christian Torres, for trial, and that Torres is now a fugitive on charges of continuous sexual abuse of a child.
That it was my phone. What the
ground.
For what?
Because you stole a phone.
According to Schiller and witnesses, the ex-wife's cell phone, credit cards, and IDs were stolen by Torres.
When somebody commits theft, Texas is a state that allows you to detain and arrest the thief and hold them for police. You're allowed to make a citizen's arrest.
Get down. Get down.
The law is very clear on that. You're allowed to use force. You're allowed to use just as much force as the police would in making an arrest. And that's exactly what happened here.
It was my ex-wife that called me first. Why, she went up to try to retrieve her phone from the guy. And it was in the middle of traffic.
He comes screaming in front of my window telling me she wants her phone.
The verbal altercation started.
I said, I'm not talking to you, you're being a
The guy didn't get out of the car or anything. He just rolled down the window and threw the phone at my ex-wife.
You stole the phone.
I didn't steal jumped on the floor.
That's when I came in. They called me to come help them.
Schiller says he called 911 and was on the phone with them the entire time, including when he pulled his gun out, trying to stop Torres from allegedly leaving as police sirens came closer.
I told him I was getting out of the car with my gun. I tried to tell him to wait. He didn't want to wait. And I said, you're not going anywhere. Wait till the police get, and that's when he told me, you just don't know who you're messing with.
I think that the facts leading up to the encounter were largely ignored.
Schiller was charged like everyone else. That meant reporting monthly and giving up all of his guns, including the service weapon he was given at his retirement from SAPD. But he claims he was treated differently by the chief of police, as if he was still a police officer.
Well, it's curious that the Special Crimes Unit of the District Attorney's Office opted to handle this case.
SAPD Chief William McManus allegedly ordered the Repeat Offenders Unit to track Schiller down and arrest him when the warrant was issued.
Do you believe that they were trying to make an example out of you because you're retired law enforcement?
I don't know the answer to that. Somebody's gonna have to ask him.
For Schiller, who is facing up to 20 years in prison if found guilty, retirement life will go back to normal.
My 5-year-old granddaughter is the pride of my joy right now. Being retired, that's what I do. I take care of her wherever I can.
DPS says they've seen this happen at least 3 different airports in South Texas. Now, all the migrants are trying to make their way to Houston. Officials say this is seen as a safer option than other border crossing methods.
By foot, by water, by truck, and now by plane. The Texas Department of Public Safety says private charter jets are the up-and-coming way to cross the border.
And we were able to disrupt and stop 3 smuggling attempts by plane within 30 days from 3 different airports in the Rio Grande Valley.
Dozens of people apprehended from the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, and Mexico. Domingo Garcia with LULAC says these smaller airports are targeted for a reason: less security.
Well, if you go to a private terminal, there are no Border Patrol agents. Therefore, there's less scrutiny.
It's considered to be safer.
Getting in the back of an 18-wheeler, getting in the trunk of a car, walking across the desert are very dangerous ways to get into the United States that can result in your death or apprehension. And coming across on a private plane minimizes the risk.
But this form of transport is significantly more expensive, mostly used by upper-class migrants from Central America.
They told our law enforcement personnel that they paid $11,000 each to be smuggled on a plane.
Cartels have raised the price for more dangerous crossings too.
So where before it was maybe $2,000 to $3,000, now they're charging $5,000 or $6,000 to bring people across the border.
Olivares says though this won't be the preferred choice for many migrants, it could pose big threats to national security.
Edward and Sandra Ramirez say they could soon be on the street because of what they believe to be an accounting mistake.
So we're getting conflicting stories.
Edward Ramirez underwent a series of surgeries last year to amputate his leg. As a result, he couldn't work. So being approved for the state's rent relief program was a blessing.
It almost brought me to tears because I didn't have to worry about, as a husband, as a provider, things were covered.
But earlier this year, Ramirez and his landlord received a notice from Texas Rent Relief demanding they pay back $3,900 of assistance issued for the months of September to December 2021. The only reason listed, payment was issued in error.
If we got overpaid, I would like to see the numbers.
Since the assistance payments were sent directly to landlords, Ramirez's apartment complex paid the money back and sent Ramirez a notice to vacate if he doesn't reimburse them.
We have until October the 22nd to make the payment, and at that point, if we don't, then they will, move forward with eviction.
Ramirez and his wife contacted the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, which ran the rent relief program. But they say they could not get a clear answer why the money must be returned.
Why hasn't more money gone out to tenants and landlords who really need it?
Last year, we had to go up to Austin and track down the executive director of Housing and Community Affairs, Bobby Wilkinson, to get answers about delays with relief payments. Now we're waiting for the agency to research the Ramirez's case and provide more information. Housing and Community Affairs says the federal government requires it to recapture funds in certain situations.